habit form conversation. Today, or this evening, I'm joined by a friend, a colleague, a true boss, Dr. Chimene Castor. I'd just like to read her brief bio. Chimene Castor, PhD, EDD, RDN, LDN, CHES, is an associate professor in the Department of Nutritional Sciences, College of Nursing and Allied Health Sciences at Howard University. She completed her doctorate and master's in health education from Teachers College, Columbia University, and her doctorate in philosophy and master's in nutritional sciences at Howard University. Dr. Castor has 19 years of experience working as a clinical dietitian for hospitals, rehabilitation, and nursing home centers. She has served as a corporate consultant and has also coordinated the peer education and prevention training program for young Haitian girls in Akin, Haiti. Dr. Castor has participated in several health programs in South Africa, Kenya, Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Ghana, and Togo. She has also co-authored several scientific publications in the areas of diabetes, heart disease, and obesity prevention. She is currently conducting research to address nutrition, sleep, and diabetes literacy in women in Haiti and other Caribbean countries. Welcome, Dr. Castor.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
I'm so excited because I know you have a lot to tell us. We're talking about nutrition. We're talking about nutrition as it relates to women. And one of the things I wanted to start with is, what is nutrition? Right? So we can all get on the same page. Yeah. Micronutrients, macronutrients, body types. Briefly, give us a primer on what is nutrition.
Okay, so there are 6 classes of nutrient, and nutrition is a science, the science of studying food and beverages. So there are 6 classes to it. That is carbohydrate, and when we talk about carbohydrate, we're talking about bread, pasta. When we talk about protein, we talk about beans, meat. When we're talking about lipids, fat, we're talking about oils. And when we're talking about minerals and vitamins, we're talking about vitamin C, vitamin D, mineral, we're talking about iron and copper. And finally, essential water, right? Of the 6 classes of nutrient, we could go without food for 40 days, but we could only go without water for 3 days. Because water is very essential to overall health. 60% of our body is made up out of water, right? But one of the things that people don't know is how to combine these foods so we could have a healthy diet, right? A lot of us tend to overeat a lot of the carbohydrate, right? A lot of the pasta, more in the simple, more in the simple form of it, like the donut, the cakes, the cookies, the bread, rather than a whole complex level. So there's 2 types of carbohydrate. Carbohydrate that are simple, that are tend not to be very healthy for you. And then there's the complex that tend to be healthy and has all the other nutrients, the vitamins, the fiber that we need so we could maintain our health. So then when you're able to look at all that from a holistic perspective, whole food, right? We've moved away so much from whole food to processed food. If you do not know what it is, right? If you're eating an apple and it doesn't look like an apple, you're probably just eating something processed. So you want to make sure that we get back to the beginning where we eat whole food, right?
Yes. You know, I think you mentioned a good point. If it doesn't look like an apple, I think a lot of us can get carried away when we see nutrition in front of a word like bar, and that, they just don't go together, right?
No. Yeah, right. So what we do is we look at, we get all kind of things. Like even now, if you look at vegan food, vegetarian, pescatarian, there's all type, and all that to me as a dietitian, a lot of it is a gimmick or playing on a word. So when you talk about even some vegan food are not good for you because it's still processed and it has a lot of sodium in it, a lot of salt. Yes. So for someone that has hypertension, you really shouldn't be, even though I'm telling you, like, yeah, plant-based whole food is what I'm talking about. The moment you say, oh, this is vegan, yes, Look at the sodium content. Look at the amount of salt that's in it. So all those are factors that's going to impact your health. And let's not make it complicated. Let's keep it simple. Keep the food whole. And if we do the same due diligence that we do when it's taking care of our hair, our outfits, and look at what we're eating, look at the labels, pay attention to that, we'll actually be very, mindful eating, what you're eating, how much of it are you eating, and what is it that you consider eating, right? So people are eating like, oh, I'll go to McDonald's and have something to eat. So one of the things I had to do, I told my students to do an experiment for me. Buy the McDonald's, leave it in your car for a couple of weeks, and let me know the outcome, right? That was part of food science. And they came back, they said, well, except for the fact that it's cold, it's dry, it's the same thing. It has not changed. How is that possible, right? But if you take an apple, you cut it up, you let it sit there, it's going to change color because the oxygen that hit the apple changes. So that's why when you eat whole food, fat, organic food tend to go back really fast because it doesn't have the chemical to sustain it. And so what are you doing with all that chemical? You're ingesting it, you're eating it, and you put it in your body. So the same due diligence that we take care to make sure the hair look good, the skin look good, the stuff, let's do the same thing with the food that we eat, the food that we give our children. I'll give you an example. My son, when he was 2.5, he never had cookies or cake because I was very mindful what I exposed his palate to.
Right.
So his snack would be carrots, tomatoes, avocados. It's of course it's all good, right? His diet. Take him to daycare. One of the parents felt that he was missing out. Give him a cupcake. So I was like, missing out of what? What is it that you're talking about? What you've done is you introduce him to salt. You've introduced him to sugar that his body is not used to. What does that do? It creates that craving. The sugar has the same cravingness as if you had some sort of drug. That induced that. So you are consuming products that induce the brain to function that. And when the brain doesn't have that, think about it. If you say, well, you know what? I decided I'm going to change my diet. I'm taking sugar out. See how hard that is.
Oh,
Your
I know.
body's going to start craving it. It's hard because it operates like as if it's a drug. We're not thinking like that. We are thinking like, so think about what you're eating, how much you're eating, and where you're eating, right?
Sorry, let's take a little shift. Looking at this current moment, this past year has been difficult for a lot of people in a lot of ways. COVID,
yes.
People losing their jobs, people having family members and friends dying. How has that impacted our nutrition?
So I call that undiagnosed trauma, right? So you have a lot of people experiencing trauma. What happened when you experience trauma at that magnitude? You have to find some sort of coping mechanism. What do? You eat. But while you're eating, that level of stress that you are internalizing is also going impacting your health, leading to weight gain, right? You are eating food that are you are constantly eating to just try to fill that emptiness or that stress that you're experiencing with COVID. So you see a lot of people gaining weight. You see that fear that's instilled as a result of this pandemic that we're in. What are you doing? You go into the supermarket, you're going to buy food that are highly processed because your body's not craving that. Your body's going to have a need. Now, and I get this a lot, Dr. Harris. I get people tell me that, well, organic food is expensive.
Yeah.
If you look at the cost of medication, the cost to your health, what is it that you would be willing to do? You're willing to, okay, I'm going to go for the cheap food. But if you look at what you are buying, a bag of chip is $3 or $4. A bag of apple is $3 or $4. Let's look at that, for example. Let's do the math. When I look at the math and say it's not as cost effective. So in this middle of pandemic, we are drinking juice. We are drinking eating all kind of processed food. We're not drinking water. We're not exercising. We're not meditating. What we are doing is sitting in front of all the social media, being traumatized. And individuals that are constantly being traumatized by the situation of life is going to lead to other health issues. High blood pressure, weight gain.
When you talk about ingesting all of these poor quality foods, and please call me Heather, I don't know why you're doing that. Anyway, so, yes. So when we ingest all of these poor quality foods, what is the manifestation outwardly when our bodies are unable to process these foods? What does that look like in a body?
What it look like is weight gain. It's going to impact your skin. It's going to lead to feeling pain, like back pain, leg pain, because what's going to happen in all that processed stuff you're eating, some of that is going to cause inflammation. Inflammation is going to attack your joint. It's going to attack your vision. It's going to attack your skin.
Can you break down what inflammation is for us? Can you break down what inflammation is for us? We hear this term a lot. What does it mean?
So inflammation is diabetes. Inflammation is hypertension. Inflammation is weight gain. So then you have a serious level of, let's say, sugar that's in your system not being processed. That's going to lead to inflammation. And that's what that is when something that is, I would like to say that's abnormal. Malnutrition, sort of. Obesity is malnutrition, and that's a level of inflammation that's going to lead to developing further health complication. I tell people that you want to have letters behind your name, but you don't want to have diabetes, DM. You don't want to have HTN, hypertension, LDN, high cholesterol level. What you want is to have look at what you're eating and see how what you're eating is actually leading you to devastating health problems, right?
Can I just pause here for a second? One of the things that people believe when they experience different types of inflammation, and this is the first time I've ever heard it described as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, that really crystallizes it for me. People often have an impression that it takes a long time to reverse this inflammation. What are we talking about in terms of time frames and practices to reverse the inflammation that you're speaking about?
Okay, I recently completed a research study where you have the opportunity as if somebody's there. So the body is very good. The body will tell you, okay, right now you are pre. So if you are diabetes, right? That's 5.7. There's a number that your body will have. Like when you go to the doctor, you'll tell you your blood sugar, it's your hemoglobin A1C is at 5.7. That's your pre. That is your body telling you, like, listen, your body is in the process of about to go into full-blown diabetes. You could reverse that. Take it back. Put on your reverse thing. Let's do something about it. Or where you have overweight, where your BMI is 26. Is your body telling you, listen, it's getting there. Let's do something about it. And I have to tell you, for Black women, diabetes is an epidemic. Within 2 to 3 years, that's 2 to 3, and some people 10 years it takes before you become a full. You could change that. Let's reverse it, people. Hypertension is one of the #1 causes of diabetes, of heart failure. We could change those pre-numbers. For example, what you eat. Let's change what we eat. If we are able to cut down on our caloric consumption of processed food and change our body, it's almost like the body said, I'm going to give you a couple of chances to change it. Give me some water. Give me some fruits. Give me some vegetable. We could reverse that. There's studies that we have read by Neil Bernard. He's a physician. He's now writing prescription for fruits and vegetables.
That's right.
Before he gives you medication. Let's do the same thing. Let's look at eating fresh fruit and vegetable as your medication, so that way you don't have to take the lisinopril, the hydrochlorothiazide, those medication, because those medication would impact your kidney, leading to what? Kidney failure and dialysis. So all those pre's that you're getting are not, oh, let's watch and wait. They are your warning sign to say, listen, before we get to the point where we're full blown, let's pull back. Let's go ahead and make some changes. Let's go back and talk to someone. Let's go ahead and change our diet, change what we eat and how we're eating and how much we are eating.
So if we are full blown, if we're past the pre, we missed the warnings, we missed the warning signs, and we're now in it, as you say, full blown, is it too late?
No, it's not. We could still work it out where you could decrease your medication. We could still work it out where your diet is controlled. If there's such a thing as diet control diabetes. What it is when you're eating healthy, we're controlling your blood sugar, so that way you don't need to be on medication, all this medication or high doses, multiple level of medication. For people that are diabetic, we go from one medication to 2 to 3. I mean, to me, in my mind, I can't conceptualize that. I'll give you an example. My mother's a diabetic, right? So when she was living with me, we changed the diet for the whole family. So in other words, in order for me to support her, well, I ate healthy. In order for me to support her, I also had to let her know that I'm going to hold you accountable. You're going to hold me accountable. So what I would do is, my siblings, we all came together. She will walk. We had a path. She'll walk she said, how long is that path? I said, Mommy, it's a mile, but it was 2. So she'll walk that path twice. So she'll do 4 miles. And I started running. As a result of that, she lost 40 pounds.
Wow. Her
hemoglobin A1C, which was critical, was 13, went down to 7.
Wow.
4 medication to 2 medications. Yes, we are able to make changes. Now, ask me if I eat healthy. 80% of the time, I do. I do, partly because my father has had diabetes. My father has hypertension. My aunt, my mom, I don't want those letters behind my name. I have some other letters, but that's not what I want.
Yes, you do. You're a true boss.
Exactly. What I want is, what does my health look like? How much am I willing to pay? I'm not going to wait till I'm 80 to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm end up in the facilities because I can't take care of myself. How about I do it now? Yeah. Because a lot of our health conditions started when we were kids. Pediatric disease lead to geriatric consequences. When I retire, I don't want my retirement to be paying bills, medical bills. I want my retirement to see if I could see 54 countries in Africa, because there's 54 countries in Africa. I'd like to see at least the whole continent if I could, or other part of the world, but not to spend money on medicine. How about we use the medicine, the food as medicine? Indeed. How about that, right?
In balancing nutrition, when people talk about losing weight, they often think about these extreme diets. They don't sound extreme on the surface, right? But if you're cutting your carbohydrates, like I'm not having carbs, you need complex carbohydrates. Your body needs it, especially if you're working out. Your muscles need it, right? Your system needs the carbs to function. How do we use food in ways that allow us to reach these goals that we have, these health goals that we have? And sometimes it's not always the number on the scale, but as you said, how our body is manifesting what it is that we are eating.
Yes, great question. One thing that I tell people is, number one, I don't take patients that need to lose 30 pounds in 2 weeks. I do not. It didn't take you 2 weeks to get there. It's not going to take 2 weeks. And as a matter of fact, I know it didn't take you 2 weeks. So when you passed by the mirror, you saw it. You're like, oh, okay. And then when you put on that dress, you felt it. You said, oh, okay. But now you have some reunion to go and you want to look good and you want me to come help you in 2 weeks. So no, ma'am, I can't help you. But what I could help you do is set up realistic goals. How many fruits and vegetables do you have in your diet? And who's cooking your food? Let's cook. Let's learn how the basic cooking, that's the art that's dying. Let's cook. Let's prepare our meal. Let's drink some more water. And believe it or not, exercising, walking 150 minutes per week has been found to be very beneficial. So as you are eating, you are removing all that processed food from your system. You're keeping your GI tract, your stomach healthy, your body healthy. You are going to lose weight. So for example, an average meal at McDonald's is 1,000 calories.
Oh, it's more than that.
Yes, I'm just talking about this average, right? It's 1,000 calories. Yeah, your body only need 1,800. Right. And one day, one sitting, you had 1,000 calories. And then you have breakfast, you have lunch. So that's about what? 2,000, or let's say 2,200, because I've calculated 2,200. Right. So if you take that extra 500 calories you ate, you time that by 7, that's 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories equal to 1 pound. So then per week, you overate 1 pound. But the body's amazing because the body's going to try to help you out. But no.
It's going to try. But here's the thing. Not to pick on Mickey D's. it's eating out that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
It's not, you know, we don't want to be sued here. It's not one particular fast food place or one particular restaurant. I went out recently and the food that was brought to me was enough food to serve 3 people.
That's right.
Right?
Overeating.
And so we have lost sight of our portions. And so that's another thing, that if you're eating in a healthy fashion, if you're eating fruits, the fruits are usually the size of your hand. The portion for your protein, if it's an animal protein, not everyone's eating an animal protein, it's going to be like the palm. And each person's body actually gives them clues as to how much they need of a particular carbohydrate, protein, etc.
How much you need, how much would, like, for example, at a restaurant, that American restaurant, let me just say that, tend to give you 2.5 times more. Because if they were to give you the actual portion size, you'll be upset because you're like, wait, this is what I paid for.
Little. Yeah.
Exactly. So what I recommend people to do, if you must eat out, cut it in half. Save the half for lunch. Because don't sit there in one sitting and eat all that meal. Because if you're eating all that food, your body is going to expand. Because fat expands. Fat does not, it's muscle like a fat expand, right? So then you want to wonder, like I went to a restaurant and I saw a young lady unzip her pants so she could get comfortable to eat. And I'm thinking to myself, all she had to do is just cut it in half and save the rest for lunch.
Yeah.
But no,
we've been conditioned, though. We've been conditioned,
yes,
right? We don't think about the portions. No one has an idea about portions.
We have override in our brain the portion size. We have to say, oh, there's 3 bites left. Okay, save it. But no, what you're going to do, you're going to eat it. And then eventually the body was like, well, I don't know if when I'm full, so I'm just going to continue to eat until you feel like you full up to the rim till a point that is too much. Then you wonder how is it that you gain weight. I have another example for you. I had a mother that I was working with. She was like, she couldn't understand why she was gaining weight because she was only eating 1 meal.
Oh.
But she came up with and that's another thing.
That's another thing. Yes.
But she was eating after her children. She has 3 because she didn't want them to waste food. So she will eat after them. So they'll eat 2 pieces of whatever, and then she'll eat the rest. So I'm saying,
my mother used to do that.
I was like, I want you to look at.
Yeah.
She was like, well, I'm not eating much. I said, you're not. But you're eating the leftover of the food because you don't want to waste it. That's more calories than you used to. And you're trying to feed the kids every 2 hours. So every 2 hours, but you're not eating, they're all processed food. So that's an issue. The other thing that we're not very good at our portion sizes.
That's right.
Not very good about, we're eating a lot of processed food,
Correct.
But we're also skipping meals. Oh. I know people want to do intermittent fasting. I've looked at the literature. I've looked at the research. Intermittent fasting is not always beneficial. There's a time for it. It's only been found to be effective for about a month, 6 weeks top. After that, what happened? You go back to your regular diet. Your body says, okay, I'm going to go hold on to this because I feel like I'm being starved to death. So because I feel like I'm being starved to death, I'm going to withhold the calories. However, if we eat smaller meals throughout the day, smaller healthy meal, we could eat as much as we want, small vegetable, an apple, 2 or 3 apples. We'll be able to eat more, be all filled up and lose weight because our body, we're keeping our blood sugar stable. Our body is getting the nutrient that it needs. It's not, the blood sugar is not bottom out. It's not dropping because you're skipping meals. And when you do eat, what do you do when you skip meal? You do eat. You overeat. What happens when you're hungry? You go to the supermarket.
Eat everything that you find on the shelf, not the right shelf.
Because when you're hungry, you starve yourself. Let's not do that, people. Let's consider our health and how important it is for mentally, physically. And the other thing is, what you eat impact you mentally.
Indeed, it does. Let's end on a positive note because we are coming to the end of our show. So tell our viewers what they can do starting today, simple steps that will take them from the inflammation to their magnificence.
Yes. First thing to do, cut down your portion sizes. Cut down the amount of food that you're eating. And then after you do that, replace the soda with water. The other story that I had a young lady that was drinking 6 bottles of soda per day. And she couldn't understand why she was gaining weight. So I challenged her. I said, okay, replace 2 of the sodas with water and you lose weight. She thought I was playing. She was like, oh, you're just being funny. You just don't want to help me. I broke down for her, listen, each can of soda has 200 calories. You're drinking 6 of them. 200 times 6 is 1,200, plus the food that you're eating. If you cut down 3, that's 600 calories. 600 times 7, that's about a pound. 6 months later, she lost 20 pounds. Then she got really excited. Then she cut down all the soda. Water. She actually lost 25 pounds for 6 months because she decided to cut down just one thing. You don't
That's
have
an interesting point, because the only 0-calorie drink is water, right? Zero calorie soft drinks. That's another story altogether.
The chemical in it, we'll leave that alone. But
that's another show.
Would increase inflammation. But let's cut down. Let's not look at the calories, but look at what you are actually eating. And then, you know what? In the midst of all this, walking is good. You're feeling stressed? Turn off the tube, go walk for 10, 15 minutes. The fresh air is great for the mental health piece. And it actually helps you to slow down a little bit to be able to conceptualize this pandemic we're in, but give you the opportunity to really look at what you're eating. Basically, take one thing out. If you used to have a donut a day, because that's what you used to, have an apple a day. If you used to have like 6 cans of soda, let's replace that with some water, because all those that would help you to went from inflammation to a healthy body weight. And a healthy body weight is not a size 2 or size 4 or size 6. I know some size 2s that can't run a flight of stairs. A healthy body weight is when you are comfortable in your size, in your body, but you are physically fit. Cardiovascular wise, you are physically fit. Your fat is not so protruding where you look at, oh, I have a muffin top. No, that's excess fat that may actually cause insulin resistance. Let's cut that down for a little bit. Let's exercise. Let's maintain good posture. Let's drink our water. It's actually very good. It keeps your body, cleanse you, looking 50 and fabulous.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes, and that matters. Your health matters. Take care of it. And that way you'll be able to have a good, enjoy your life. Your health matters. Your health matters. Your health matters. I don't have any time to tell you that.
No, that's your mantra. And
yeah,
it needs to be ours.
Yes.
Dr. Chimene Castor, what a fabulous 26 minutes. We are up to that 6:30 point. I want to thank you for taking time to have this discussion with us, making nutrition simple, basic. Finally, I understand what inflammation is. I have been Googling and Poogling, trying to find out what inflammation is. And you've explained it, and you've explained to us that it is reversible.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen out there, to be leaders, we have to be healthy.
Yes.
And having these types of conversations with the Forward Women's Leadership Forum is one step to getting yourself to where you want to be, because we're all individuals and it's our health. The numbers are going to be different, but they're going to be good numbers. Yes. We know what the bad numbers look like. Yes. So again, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening for the Forward Women's Leadership Forum conversation. You see the streaming on the bottom. You can go there and get more information about what we do and how we do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yeah.